Hey guys, earlier when I had to leave real quick to go run a quick errand, I fell down my stairs.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I was fine. My heel slipped, so I did like the old person slide where you I kept my head up, so I was fine in that situation. But yeah, I laughed like almost the entire way down. My stairs turned, so I knew I wasn't going to go all the way down from floor 2 to floor 1. But yeah,
Nice.
I tried to grab onto the banister, which actually ended up hurting. The worst part was me slapping the banister with my wrist, and then my fingers trying to grab onto something that actually hurts more than anything. But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. I had a good laugh at myself, and my cats really hit a skedaddle after.
Why didn't you just stand up, dude?
Oh man, why didn't I think of that?
Dude, yeah, you could have just stood up.
I didn't go toenail, or I have one, and I stubbed my toe on it. It felt really good.
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't cry at all. Pee a little bit.
Like super recently?
Oh, like today, like 10 minutes ago.
Oh my
Oof.
god. Oh.
Fifth grade.
Terrible.
You gonna get that ingrown toenail taken care of, or is
I
it
have to let it fester, and I can fix it myself.
He's gonna get it
all the pus out.
He's gonna get ripped off like Squidward's toenail on that one episode.
Like when I fix it myself and squeeze it all out, it feels it hurts, but it feels good. Anyways, you were saying SpongeBob?
What's SpongeBob?
We're gonna force you to the doctor like SpongeBob and Suds.
Wait,
Sponge
Suds?
toe.
We should watch that episode and give our honest opinion about it.
Yeah, but before we do that, we should do Sleepy Time.
Ah, yeah, you're right. Oh, that's the SpongeDudes. My name's Babbage.
Clater Tot Tot.
Tommy.
No,
I didn't study.
And we're here again to give you another episode review. If you haven't guessed, it's the Suds and Sleepy Time episode. Reverse those, Sleepy Time first. So I'll go ahead and give you a quick little preview of it. We like them, so
That's a hot take. Hang on.
it's not a hot take. We're about to share our unadulterated opinion on them, and if you fall down the stairs while you're listening to it,
I hate you.
all right, anyway, here we go. Starting off today's episode with a classic called Sleepy Time. This originally aired January 17th of 2000. So there you go. We're not too far.
Is this one in order or out of order? Or is there just no way to tell?
Yeah, there was that one. This one seems to be in order. There's just that one that we watched last time that was I don't know, weird. Anyway, this episode starts with SpongeBob being asleep, going to sleep, getting ready to go to sleep. He's very tired. Takes off his shoes and socks finally when he goes to bed.
That crusty burr, I tell you what.
We did want his socks to stand up because he took them all off at the same time, but they fell. And then poor little Gary put his eyes in there.
Yep.
Yeah. SpongeBob made a little quote like "Curiosity salted the snail." That's a weird. That's okay. Anyway,
Building lore.
SpongeBob then enters his own dream, where he's having a nightmare to begin with, where his body is in pieces, which I did not enjoy that. And then he forms out of a rock into the SpongeBob that we know and hate, and then is inside of a car, and his nose forms, and then he realizes he can't be driving a car because he doesn't have a license. And then one appears. And this is where a lot of people...
My license!
A lot of people get the quote now, or use that for his date of birth and everything. But they're pulling that from a dream sequence. So, can we believe that?
Dreams can be anything you want.
That is true.
But also, maybe he wants to be a certain age. Maybe that's maybe another part of his dream.
Yeah. Unless it's another, also another time we see a close-up of his license. So it could be the same one that we see used every now and then. So I don't know. I'll have to do some research on that and then never report back on it.
Nice.
I prefer that. We do our own research here.
SpongeBob is swooning himself over the license, and he says, I sure take a good picture. I enjoyed that. But then he realizes he should have grown out a mustache. And then he realizes that he hasn't been looking at the road at all. And he crashes his boat car, which has been swerving all over the road. And he flies through the air, and Mrs. Puff is flying through the air with him for some reason, just randomly. And he says, "Look, Mrs. Puff, I got a license." And she says, "Not even in your dreams." So that was pretty good. And then she tears it up. And then he flies out of his dream. And does he land directly into the next one or on the ground?
Then he lands on the ground and goes, "Hey, look, it's that dream."
Okay.
Or Patrick's.
So, like, he has, like, an out-of-body experience. Oh, yeah, because he's like, am I real? Is this real? What's real? Yeah.
What's fake? What's real? What's fake? Machines went dead.
He does the plot from Inception and from Insidious, where he's got astral projection, and then also maybe he's causing other dreams to happen. So I don't know which ones
a dream, dude.
Which ones took inspiration from this or not? But we're gonna say both. Both of them were inspired by SpongeBob. So
yeah, we got Chris Nolan on the line.
Yes, Christopher Nolan. What do you think? Oh, Christopher Nolan's the best director ever. This is me, Christopher Nolan, and I talk in third person about myself being a good director. And SpongeBob inspired me to make The Dark Knight.
Nice.
It's confirmed.
What about Inception?
I didn't make that movie.
Oh,
it's not one of mine.
Okay.
All right, thanks for coming by. See you later.
Thanks, Chris.
It's so
looks like
nice
David
that we
J.
have
get
to
an
guest star
impression
on
really
Christopher
weird.
Nolan's podcast.
Yeah,
we get to put it in the title now.
Christopher Nolan comes onto the SpongeDudes.
maybe we'll have more than 6 viewers now.
So Christopher Nolan comes onto the SpongeDudes.
Yeah,
there you go. Anyway, SpongeBob has a crisis and then sees the dream that Gary's having, the little dream cloud, the classic cartoon, and decides to join in on that. And then we get to the nightmare that is Tall Gary, which I don't like.
I think he's dreamy.
I like Tall Gary.
Love Wizard Gary.
Come on.
Tall Gary is very intelligent, which makes me think that maybe Small Gary is also intelligent.
That seems to be the.
Well, that can be kind of confirmed through the episode because we see that all the characters he interacts with in his dream are actually there in their own dreams, and he says you can be whatever you want to be in a dream. SpongeBob says that. So if we add those together, Gary is a conscious, sentient being, and in his dreams he gets to take the form of his wizard-like self.
Also, doesn't he talk about that in the dream Gary? Like, he's not inhibited by his, physical form?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I don't understand why he's putting his eyes in the sots, though, if he's supposed to be this sentient, intelligent creature.
Well, I mean...
He's just curious, dude.
Yeah.
You never put your
stuff all the
socks
time.
on your eyes?
Yeah.
I mean, I would if I could. I can't, put my eyes in them, though.
That's because the socks are too hard, though. That's why your eyes can't fit.
They're way too hard. They're form-fitting, it's like an ice block or something.
To get him on, he's got to smack him on the ground a few times to really break it up.
I get a little tiny little hammer, and I have to chip into them.
Is it like frosting off of a glazed donut? Whenever you take a bite and the.
It's way crustier than that. That kind of slides off.
That kind of
break in case of emergency.
Why is it so crusty? Elaborate.
No, it's because he wears them. He uses them.
Yeah, I just sweat all it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that make them
them,
soggy, not crusty?
No, because you leave the crystals in there and then they form.
Yeah, the crystals form.
Crystals.
Yeah.
If you cummed in a sock, it's not it's not immediately crusty. You don't just shoot.
Wait, that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm comparing it.
Oh, okay.
You're telling me something that he understands.
Oh, okay.
There's another thing that you could do to socks that would make it crusty, other than coming in them.
You could put mayonnaise on it and let it sit for a little while.
Option 3.
You could put something that looks like mayonnaise on them and then let them sit, and then they'll probably get crusty as well.
You could mix it with eggs, milk, and flour and put it in the oven 375 for 4 hours.
I think that would just melt the sock, though.
But
We're talking about special baking soda.
Anyway, he leaves Tall Gary's dream. I don't remember why, under what circumstance. And he's like, all right, time to go back to my dream.
The wandering eye.
Yeah,
That's
he does say that. Tall Gary does. And then he looks and he sees that Patrick is dreaming. And he goes, I can't miss this. Can't pass this up. So we get the all-time dream, the best one out of any of them, of Patrick riding his little seahorse. And then he gets out his quarter to refill the mechanical seahorse machine, and then he drops it, and then that's it. That's his dream. He's just sitting there.
Shoot, that was my last quarter.
And we have to put this in perspective. SpongeBob was like, you can dream whatever you want, right? Like, look, I could turn into a skyscraper, and then he turns into a whole ass building.
There can be 1,000,000 of me.
Patrick's just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm just gonna ride my seahorse.
Patrick is simple. I mean, it's not something unknown to us.
And he
lost
literally
his
won't dream up
quarter.
with another quarter.
I was about to say, you wouldn't conjure up another quarter.
Or that he wouldn't need a quarter at all, that it would just go.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He just got stuck, like in his own mind in his dream. So he's just going to be stuck there until he wakes up.
Aye.
So then we get to him leaving because he's bored, and then goes see Squidward is dreaming. Which Squidward is dreaming of performing the clarinet, but like as a slave to a king. Like, it's not like he's having a good time, right? It feels like the fool type situation where like he's the fool.
He's like,
seemed to be enjoying it at first.
he seems like a multifaceted character. Like, he's a very talented composer, but he lives in imperial times, and he's been just taken by the king and forced to do performances.
I mean, we've all been there though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As long as he still has the fame
Normal,
and the
like,
talent, he's
Wednesday,
happy.
Thursday activities, man.
What do you do the rest of the week?
Goes to the rest of our houses.
Yeah.
Big cum socks with crusts.
That's
No, sweat
that's
socks.
the
Not
factory's
cup
baking
socks.
making those.
You'd put whatever kind of sock you want in a pie crust, really. Doesn't matter.
Is that
That's
true? We can turn
crusty.
it up? Tune in next week for baking time with SpongeDudes.
It's where we bake various inanimate objects and then eat them.
with crust already built into them.
Yes.
So SpongeBob is being irritating, of course, and he's telling jokes to the king, which is causing him not to pay attention to Squidward. Squidward is upset, so he breaks his clarinet. The king's like, hey, I don't know what you got to do, but you better find something because you're going to keep playing. So then SpongeBob becomes Squidward's clarinet, and he says, trust me. And then...
Why? Why would you stop playing such beautiful music?
Such an instrument. I should shudder.
So there's all the quotes from the episode, from that bit. It's like we have it on now, but I promise you we don't. So yeah, it's a good bit of SpongeBob as a clarinet, and I think he just gets like worshipped, and they push Squidward aside, and they're like they love SpongeBob, and then he leaves that dream.
Wait, I just want to say how I found it kind of funny how, this is an auditorium and they're watching Squidward perform, and there's he got pushed into like a thing of fruits.
Yeah.
Which makes you feel like, if he was like a shitty performer, like the fruit's already there for them to throw at him.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a neat little touch.
You got to keep that. You got to stay strapped.
For sure. Yeah, in today's society, of course.
I always got a tomato
tomatoes
with me in my pocket.
He means Glock.
No, I mean
Someone
tomato in
bumps-
case someone says a bad joke.
Oh, yeah.
Someone bumps into you on the subway and you just get tomato pocket, Oh, come on.
Come on, fuck.
What's your catchphrase?
You just got tomatoed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
gets them every time. They don't know what to do with the information.
They're just like, what the
You
fuck?
say it before you do it, though. So they're like, what? and then
tomato. What? Plop.
and then you blast them with the tomato.
Actually, in that order is usually when I use the Glock. Use tomato. Pop.
Learn that in Krav Maga class.
I also use an inverted bullet from Tenet.
Whoa. You got a
The
curved
tomato
bullet.
goes back into your pocket.
Goes back into my hand through them.
Welcome to Tomato World.
So SpongeBob.
Then he goes. He sees. He flies, right? Like he gets like kicked out or something. I don't remember. Anyway, he ends up by Mr. Krabs' house, and he's like, "Oh, Mr. Krabs' dream." And then he pops in, but it's Pearl's dream, and she's having a tea party. And then he's like, "I don't want to be in here. It's gross." And then he goes to see. Then he's like, "I'll go see Mr. Krabs' dream." Mr. Krabs is fishing for $1 in the ocean thing.
Pennies.
Never mind.
Never mind the
skip
small change.
dollars.
And then he catches the dollar. SpongeBob helps him catch the $1. But when he catches it in like a wallet, like a big wallet. But when he opens that up, you see Mr. Krabs' driver's license, and he has a mustache, which is a good setup and payoff for SpongeBob saying, "I should have grown out a mustache for my license picture." So I liked that a little bit.
That is an nice and I never actually put two and two together.
Everybody
Right.
wants to be like their boss.
So then SpongeBob,
Yeah.
hex up, of course, and then he lets the dollar bill go. I remember how he got into that dream because he was in Sandy's dream somehow, and Sandy's doing an extreme sport and skydiving, and then he's like, "Yeah," they go through misunderstanding joke, which is always so funny. I love those. And then Sandy basically dies.
Medic.
Yeah. And SpongeBob like lands in the ground and flies out, and then he goes into Mr. Krabs' dream or whatever. And then he leaves and goes to Plankton's dream, which Plankton is dreaming of being giant.
Zap.
And he's zapping all the buildings away.
I see you.
And then he goes to step on Gary, but SpongeBob turns into a thumbtack. And then, so then he steps on a tack, and it hurts his little foot. And then it
Do you think
deflates
he
him.
got the point?
Yeah, SpongeBob's quip is pretty incredible there. Way better than my tomato one.
You just got tomatoed, and then he gets like deflated because he steps on a thumbtack.
Nice.
So for SpongeBob.
So then SpongeBob ends up going back to his own dream, right? There's no more dreams he goes to.
Dream.
He goes back to his own, and then everybody comes and wakes him up, and they're like,
Yeah. And then they
all.
all blame him somehow. Like he was. I know that he was active, but they shouldn't have known that he was actively like entering their dreams, right?
You never astral
Okay,
projected
yeah.
before, dude?
No.
Okay, I see the point that you're making. Yeah, no. Like, yeah, how did they know it was specifically the real... I guess he's just that annoying. Like, of
I mean, he
course,
is.
to me, like, of course this is the personification of SpongeBob himself. This
Why
isn't just me
was-
dreaming him.
Why was Pearl mad? It wasn't like he did anything bad. He was just like,
She
oh,
wasn't. She was irritated, but I guess
but
she
it's
just
the
went
fact-
there
why was
with.
she there?
I guess
mob
she just went there with
mentality, I
Mr.
think.
Krabs. Yeah.
Eh.
Aren't you mad SpongeBob was in your dream? And then she's like, "Yeah, you're right."
I mean, it's kind of creepy. Like, this middle-aged or 18-year-old shows up in your dream, and it's like, hey, where's your dad?
I never have. It's never a problem for me. When
I like how there's no in between. He's either like a 40-year-old man or 18.
It's the only
Well,
options.
Depending on the episode.
It does both. It does both.
So that is the episode Sleepy Time. Everyone knows this episode. SpongeBob gets sick, and then he has to not get sick. The end. All right, podcast over.
My favorite
I'm
part was when he
joking.
didn't get sick and he just got sick.
This is
I
one of
couldn't
the
get
all
better.
times. One of the all-time episodes, the Suds. SpongeBob leaves the refrigerator running.
Oh my god, he did.
Clayton, hurry!
He leaves it open all night because God damn.
Perfectly.
He has a dream. This opens with a dream sequence, which is weird because we just did that. And then he's like, I'm hungry. And then he gets up and makes himself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or whatever it's called, peanut butter and jellyfish jelly. And then he leaves the refrigerator open all night because as soon as he takes a bite, he falls asleep. They used to scare me. I used to think that it was possible if I left the refrigerator open, it would freeze the whole house.
Yeah, I thought it was going to hurt my family.
I don't want them to die.
I want them to get hit by an icicle.
So his whole house is frozen. And then we get to him waking up, and he's very sick. He's not feeling very well because he's got a cold. Or, in Sponge terms, the Suds. He slides across the ground because everything's frozen. I enjoyed that part where he's sitting there and he slides. That's a good bit. We have the bit where he tries to go to bed, right? Or is this before or after we discover he has a Suds? Anyway, he tries to go to bed. He picks up the blanket and it breaks when he picks it up. I like that bit. He's talking to Gary. Gary's very much so involved in this episode. And he's like, Gary, I'm not sick. Sponges don't get sick. They get the Suds. And if I had the Suds, I'd be blowing bubbles. And then he sneezes and a bunch of bubbles come out. And he pulls his underwear up over his face to try and stop the bubbles from coming out. But it doesn't quite work. And then he turns around and he's double cheeked up. And then the two bubbles, the two bubbles that are there that are making his butt cheeks, they pop.
God, he's double cheeked up.
It's a good joke. He tries to go to work, and then Mr. Krabs comes back there, and he's like, "What's wrong? Why are you taking so long?" And then Gary just appears and meows, and he says, "The Suds," and then he starts falling apart. I really like the different stages of sick death that we see SpongeBob in this episode. You know how when you get really sick and you're not feeling good and you start falling apart,
It's fucking
Mr. Krabs. I can keep working.
His eyes
on the floor.
His eyes come out and sag down.
One of those has to be the thumbnail.
Please.
I like that one. I also like when his eye sinks later when he's talking on the phone. That's a good bit. So SpongeBob gets sent home. Mr. Krabs is like, I can't have you sneezing on my food, and then all the patrons in the restaurant freak out, and that's where we get our My Leg from.
My leg.
We actually got a last Sleepy Time episode as well, whenever Plankton's blowing everything.
Part Mike.
Whenever
You just got tomato.
You just got tomatoes.
It's got fork marks.
Anyway, I have cancer.
Now, do you have a wah to play? That'd be really good there.
I don't. It doesn't come with one. Jackson, you have what?
So the test results are back. I definitely have cancer.
That sucks, my man.
So anyway,
you could have done the aww.
I know. I wish I had. I had to import it. I had to download one.
Wah, wah.
No. I just hit wait. I just forced it to hit the fucking Seinfeld bass line when he says it.
That's the opening of the episode. SpongeBob calls Sandy because he's like, I need to go to the hospital. I'm very sick. And I wish you just shit yourself. Trying to force that out. And she's like, all right, I'll take you. I'll be over there.
Oh my god.
This is degrading so quickly. Please, can we get through this episode?
Together, guys, please. We'll finish this.
I'll be over there faster.
Yes. The jackrabbit. Okay.
Yeah, the rabbit.
Ooh.
And then And then Patrick wants to play because SpongeBob's at home, so he knocks on the door, and then we get the meme of SpongeBob answering the door with like all his like cold gear on.
You should go to the doctor.
Yeah, and then he tells him he's going to the doctor, and then
I heard from a friend who knew a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy.
Yeah, Patrick does not want him to go to the doctor. He tells him all the reasons why.
Old magazine.
The waiting room.
He's like one of these. I won't talk about COVID. Never mind.
The old magazines.
I'll make you read old magazines.
So there you are with that, and then he's like, Patrick's like, you know what, I can help you. Just tell Sandy not to come over. And then he plugs up all his holes. That's what he's gonna do. So he puts a bunch of corks in all of SpongeBob's holes, and then he sneezes, and then no bubbles come out. He just gets bigger, and Patrick thinks that he's shrinking because he's dumb. And then he's like, I'll call Sandy and tell her not to come. I'm better. And then SpongeBob's fingers just hit all of the buttons on the phone. I like that. That was good.
That's good.
And then Patrick calls Sandy, and then she's still not leaving yet, but she's obviously dressed to come over. And then Sandy says, I'm still coming over, and I'll be there faster than a jackrabbit. Something.
Oh yeah, the rabbit.
So then Patrick is like, oh, we gotta get you all healed up before Sandy gets here, so you don't have to go to the doctor. And then he goes to put on his gloves. He turns around after he dips him in the water and, don't touch me, I'm sterile. All timeline. And then he tries a bunch of stuff. He puts peanut butter on his foot and makes him a peanut butter foot sandwich. What's the other ones?
Put him in like a medieval stretching rack.
Well, that's the very last one. That's the torture.
Band-Aid.
The Band-Aid, he puts the Band-Aid on and off. That's right, and rips it off. You feel better yet? No? And then he rips the Band-Aid off. Are there any others?
There's
They
one
start
more.
bouncing on him or something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Feeling
like
better now?
bounces on him like a trampoline. Yep. And then the very last one is the medieval torture table. And he's got a hood on. Like he's
And
actually
SpongeBob
enjoying...
is smiling.
Yeah, SpongeBob's enjoying it. BDSM confirmed,
What's
SpongeBob?
about to happen
Yes.
there?
Oh yeah.
I'd like to know.
Patrick's got him right where he wants him.
But unfortunately, we don't get to see because Sandy gets there. And then SpongeBob sneezes again and becomes round, like very rotund. And Sandy knocks at the door. Had already knocked at the door at this point. So then Patrick rolls him out, like away to hide him, and then paints him like his house or covers him in dirt or something.
My mobile home.
And you see SpongeBob's legs sticking out of the round bit, and that's what Patrick says, that it's his mobile home. And then SpongeBob sneezes, and then you find out it's him, and he's like, the third treatment is taking very well. And then they roll him around and start fighting over him, and bounce him like a basketball. And then he starts rolling towards the town, and he rolls right up to the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krabs goes out to stop him, but it doesn't matter because he stops right in front. And then SpongeBob sneezes. He does a big sneeze, and it blows up the Krusty Krab.
Oh.
And then Mr. Krabs, Clayton said that it feels like he's the father of like the situation. And it's like, don't let dad see type of thing. So Mr. Krabs is like, all right, that's it. You're going to the hospital. And then we get everyone's favorite scene where SpongeBob is at the hospital, and then he gets his treatment, the sponge treatment, where he gets used in like real life. They call it a guy named Hans.
Oh, Hans.
Because it's a hand. Because it's a hand. Hands. Get it? Yeah.
Hans.
Oh,
Yeah. And then he pulls
Oh, good.
SpongeBob into real life, and then he uses him to clean a bunch of stuff.
I can smell again.
And then
Here's your
feeling
lollipop.
better. And then Hans gives him a lollipop. Here's your lollipop. And then Patrick sees this, and he's like, oh, hospitals aren't so bad. So then he blows a bubble with a bubble wand, and he's like, I have the suds too. And they give him the star treatment. And it's absolute torture because he's not a sponge.
impersonating a doctor.
Toilet.
Yeah,
Straight to jail.
Cactus.
Something
cactus,
doesn't feel right.
And so then that's the end of the episode.
I gotta say, and I'm gonna be completely honest with this episode.
Please.
And I'm just gonna give my rating. Is why I'm doing this. I think this episode's a straight 10 out of 10. I mean, thank you. Yeah.
Clayton's on the
But
controls.
no,
That, by the
seriously,
way.
I think it's a 10 out of 10. I think this is like, I think it's the best one I've seen so far, and it also has a good message with like, don't be afraid of the doctor.
And don't leave your
Those kids
refrigerator
are
open.
Yeah, and don't
Course,
leave your refrigerator open and freeze your house.
Liberals would love this one with
Yeah, these liberals will love it.
patient.
Yeah, trusting
Ruined
doctors
kids.
and shit. Fucking bullshit. He got the jab. SpongeBob got the jab confirmed.
What's your favorite quote or moment?
Basketballing SpongeBob around.
Mine's just the many faces of SpongeBob when he's sick. His eyes are just falling off.
And what would you rate it?
I wouldn't go 10 out of 10 because I feel like there were other episodes where I laughed more consistently as opposed to this one, but I did enjoy it throughout both parts. So I'd probably give it 4.25 Spongies out of 5.
Nice.
Alrighty.
Nice. I'll give it 11 fart mics out of 12.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
High praise.
I feel like I'm a little too generous with the 10 out of 10s lately, or I would have just thrown one of those fuckers out there, but let's be honest. I'll give it 11 out of 12.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't give it to this one. I haven't given it 10 out of 10 yet, so I really felt like it needed it.
There's too many good quotes to pick from in this one. It's hard to pick a best moment. Fucking the Cockney King, it's great. Factor dropping his quarter, it's great. Wizard
Sterile.
dreams,
Go with sterile.
Gary, great. Yeah, don't touch me. I'm sterile. I use that one like every time I went in a biology lab in college. Yeah, great episode.
I'm gonna have to give this a 2 coat hangers out of 3 coat hangers.
That's pretty
Yeah.
low.
It's very good. Oh no, I mean 2 out of 3 is good.
Percentage-wise,
That's
not
Yeah, it's
really.
a 66.
3.2
It's a 6.6
stars.
out of 10.
Well, in my rating, it's the highest honor.
It's the highest
usually.
3 out of 3s are shit. 0 out of 3s are pretty good.
2 out of
Are
3
you
though.
doing an at-home abortion currently? Is that why you use coat hangers as your?
Oh god. Oh god.
Don't tell the Texas government.
Clayton, can you please cut
You
that
had
out?
what recently, Noah?
Jesus. Okay, I didn't want to have to tell anybody this. But yes, I'll give it 4.6 out of 5 stars.
That's great.
Thanks for the
That's
last
great.
clap. Favorite part is the eyeballs on SpongeBob by far. When it rolls down his body and he just picks it up, it's great.
Oh yeah.
IMDb has it at 8.7 out of 10. Seems a little low to me, considering that SB129 and Karate Choppers was a 9.1, and so was Pizza Delivery. I think this one's actually a little bit better, obviously, than Pizza Delivery, and probably right on par with SB129. But I didn't like Karate Choppers, so that kind of drags it back down. Let's go with a 9.6 out of 10. And we're currently watching the NFC Championship, so it's 9.6 NFC Championships out of 10.
It's good, healthy.
And my favorite quote is the "Don't touch me, I'm sterile." I can't not pick it. It's just an all time. And I would say that's probably going to be it for us today.
Yeah.
Look forward to the overuse of those in the future.
And
We did it last week too.
And I hope Tommy's pants are okay.
They're not.
And I hope that Noah is happy.
Yes, really hope Noah's happy.
Yeah. All right.
No.
All right. Well, Spongies, you know what we say. You just got tomatoed. Yeah. 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 Change your catchphrase. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yeah.
We'll see you next time.